The Tesseract has awakened. It is on a little world, a human world.
That doesn't really make any sense. If the invasion of New York in 2012 only happened because Nick Fury tampering with the Tesseract sent out a signal, then why didn't they invade Earth in 1945 when Red Hulk was also tampering with the cube in the exact same way? And I can't imagine that Thanos waited 67 fucking years just because Loki didn't feel like invading Earth during World War II. Not a great start to this amazing movie, but okay.
I need you to make sure the Phase 2 prototypes are shipped out.
Nice.
Director,
Is there anything we know for certain?
the Tesseract is misbehaving.
That's supposed to be funny?
No, it's not funny at all.
No. This doesn't count as a specific signal that Thanos picked up on in 2012 that wasn't also sent out in 1945 because the cube never misbehaved while it was in Red Skull's possession. This present day 2012 cubical misbehavior is a direct result of Loki attempting to open a portal from space. Something he only does because Thanos sent him on a mission to recover the cube. A mission Thanos only orchestrated because the cube sent out a signal as a result of being tampered with by Nick Fury. The misbehavior and the signal are not one and the same. The signal is the cause, the misbehavior is the effect. Hence, the misbehavior can't then also be the signal that leads to the misbehavior. So this line,
The Tesseract is misbehaving.
doesn't justify this line.
The Tesseract has awakened.
That is still a very blatant continuity error, or at the very least an incongruity in the characterization of Thanos. A simple way to fix this would be to give a better reason as to why Thanos didn't go after the cube when he discovered its location in 1945. Maybe he was too busy acquiring the Mind Stone, or maybe he did send somebody after it, but the person betrayed him the same way we saw Gamora do in 2014. Literally anything is better than saying the cube was awakened in 1945, but Thanos chose not to do anything about it until 6 decades later.
I am Loki of Asgard, and I am burdened with glorious purpose.
He's burdened by the pursuit of glory, and he believes this to be his purpose because that's how his father raised him. He couldn't rule over Asgard, so now he has come to Earth to claim his glory. He feels entitled to said glorification and worship, so he's willing to take it by any means necessary. He's not a bad guy, he just had a really shitty fucking dad. Very glad to see his characterization still remains consistent in this movie.
We've got maybe 2 minutes before this goes critical.
Well then.
He shot him in the chest knowing fully well he was wearing a bulletproof vest, so Loki's mind control isn't as all-encompassing as he thought it was. This is later verified when we find out that Eric Selvig also built in a way to disrupt the power source while also being under Loki's mind control. Very consistent world building. I like that. I also like the fact that at this early stage in the Infinity Saga, they knew enough about where they were eventually gonna go to have the Space Stone open portals and the Mind Stone control minds. They didn't just get to Infinity War and start randomly imbuing random stones with random powers that may or may not contradict what was already established in previous movies for the sake of fitting the narrative they wanted to tell. Even more consistent overarching world building. I fuck with it a lot. I fuck with it! The next set of scenes where the individual Avengers get recruited are just so fucking great. I love everything about them. I love the dialogue, the tone, the fucking scene transitions. They do this thing where the last word of a scene leads directly into the next scene, and it's just so fucking goofy and cool at the same time. It's like when the melody of the end of the first song of an album connects directly to the beat of the next song. Literal music to my fucking ears, bro.
War isn't won by sentiment, Director.
No. It's won by soldiers.
Cuts to the first super soldier.
Is there anything you can tell us about the Tesseract that we ought to know now?
You should have left it in the ocean.
Cuts to the son of the guy that found the Tesseract in a body of water himself. Ugh!
You can't pull me out of this right now.
Barton's been compromised.
Let me put you on hold.
I like how dedicated she is to her mission at first, but then immediately throws it all away the moment she finds out Hawkeye is in danger. Tells us a lot about their history together without the need for any inorganic and lazy exposition. I like how Natasha easily beats up men twice her size with her arms tied behind her back, not by unrealistically throwing them across the room, but by using their weight and momentum against them while actively showcasing her skills as a trained assassin.
I'm in the middle of an interrogation. This moron is giving me everything.
I don't give everything.
So you were giving her something.
We need you to talk to the big guy.
Coulson, you know that Stark trusts me about as far as he can throw me.
I've got Stark. You get the big guy.
I like how Coulson sends the femme fatale super spy to recruit the big green rage monster precisely because of the effect he hopes that feminine charm will have on him.
You know, for a man who's supposed to be avoiding stress, you picked a hell of a place to settle.
Avoiding stress isn't the secret.
I like how she also understood the assignment and proceeded to dress herself as a helpless fair maiden to put the big guy at ease. I too become very, very, very calm, confused, and completely disarmed when my girlfriend reveals her shoulders in the same subtle way. So, I get it. I get it.
You brought me to the edge of the city. Smart. I assume the whole place is surrounded.
Just you and me.
This becomes double awesome when you realize that this is the exact same deceptive damsel in distress tactic she just used to disarm and interrogate that foreign general.
Talk to Fury. He needs you on this.
He needs me in a cage.
No one's gonna put you in.
Stop lying to me!
I like how he immediately clocks her strategy and then calls her bullshit on it.
Stand down. We're good here.
Just you and me.
The persistent look of fear in her eyes even after the comedic line was delivered is so good because even though Bruce finds it funny that he just caught her in a lie and he knows he has everything under control, she has no idea what may or may not happen, so all she can do is fear and prepare for the worst case scenario. A scenario, mind you, that she has no possible way of dealing with if it ever actually manifested in a material reality. So I find it so fucking satisfying that persistent sense of terror was still visible in her face even after the situation had been thoroughly de-escalated.
Why don't we do this the easy way where you don't use that and the other guy doesn't make a mess? I'm sorry, that was mean. I just wanted to see what you do.
This sentiment of calling her on her feminine bullshit is also further reinforced later on when he says this.
Did you know about this?
You want to think about removing yourself from this environment, Doctor?
I was in Calcutta. I was pretty well removed.
Loki is manipulating you.
And you've been doing what exactly?
I also like how we get this line up top.
Avoiding stress isn't the secret.
So we know he can handle being in contentious situations like this.
You're dealing with forces you can't control.
You ever been in a war, Councilman? In a firefight? Did you feel an overabundance of control?
We are in a chaotic situation right now. In my experience, you don't try and control every single little thing, and you definitely don't roll over and play dead hoping it all goes away. The best strategy is to focus on what you need to do and keep moving forward, which is exactly what I'm doing right now. I love how Nick Fury was able to convey all that information to his superior who was attempting to undermine him with a simple, well-timed, concise analogy from what you can only assume is his dark past as a US soldier or disavowed undercover spy.
It's up to us.
Which is why you should be focusing on Phase 2. It was designed for exactly
Phase
this.
2 isn't ready. Our enemy is.
The persistent subtle metatextual references to Phase 2, as in the next set of MCU movies after Phase 1, are definitely some of the bold moves that helped furnish the interior of the mansion that is the MCU.
You're saying that this Asgard is declaring war on our planet?
Not Asgard. Loki.
I like how Fury was able to wisely make that subtle but necessary distinction between Asgard as a sovereign, non-antagonistic nation and Loki as an independent, invasive force. Very rational, very level-headed, and very diplomatically oriented. All necessary qualities one would expect to see in the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. and assembler of the Avengers, as opposed to some arrogant army general with a short fuse that would have immediately and foolishly declared the whole of Asgard as his enemy for no good reason at all.
Trouble sleeping?
Slept for 70 years, sir. I think I've had my fill.
It's okay, Cap. I too would have insomnia if I had to perpetually rewatch that vanilla-ass movie in my mind over and over.
Who took it from you?
He's called Loki. He's not from around here. There's a lot we'll have to bring you up to speed on if you're in.
I like how Fury again wisely used the phrase "not from around here" as a way to slowly ease him into the situation, instead of just bluntly dropping the concept of extraterrestrial beings from other worlds on the guy that's still trying to understand the internet.
The world has gotten even stranger than you already know.
At this point, I doubt anything would surprise me.
$10 says you're wrong.
Cap's response makes so much sense because it's not that he's become cocky as a result of believing that he has learned everything he needs to learn in order to be all caught up with the present. His response is just a natural result of being so thoroughly inundated with a wide variety of overstimulating experiences to the point where all his senses are now completely oversaturated. So, he can't even possibly fathom the idea that there could be something even crazier than all the crazy things he has already seen.
Security breach. It's on you.
Mr. Stark?
Phil, come in.
Phil?
I can't stay. His first name is Agent.
I like how Tony lays emphasis on the fact that his first name is Agent while using that classic Tony Stark satirical charm to draw attention to the fact that even though we've seen Phil Coulson in a lot of movies, we still have no idea what his real personality is like or who he is as a character outside of the fact that he's a secret agent. This is also some really good setup for later on in the movie when Iron Man confronts Loki after Loki stabs Coulson through the chest.
And there's one other person you pissed off. His name was Phil.
Also, I've been using the phrase "I like" a lot, which has a very subjective connotation to it, but I assure you that these are all very, very, very objective observations. This movie is just so fucking well made that my inner geek is shining through a lot more in this particular analysis. And we've not even gotten to any of the real action yet. This is all just really good character work.
I'm going to take the jet to DC tonight.
Tomorrow.
You have homework. You have a lot of homework.
Well, what if I didn't?
I like how we get this subtle insight into the internal conflict that goes on within him when he has to choose between his love for Pepper and his dedication to saving the world. This conflict is mirrored and reinforced several times in the MCU, including the end of this movie when she's the last person he calls right before he believes he's about to die. That time in Endgame when he's about to die again in the ship with Gamora, so he leaves her a final message. And again when he entertains the thought of tossing a time travel device in the ocean so that he can enjoy the rest of his life with Pepper and his daughter.
I gotta say, it's an honor to meet you. Officially. I sort of met you. I mean, I watched you while you were sleeping.
Wait for it.
I mean, I was present while you were unconscious from the ice. You know, it's just a huge honor to have you on board.
And thus, the process of humanizing Agent Phil Coulson begins.
Agent Romanoff, it's Captain Rogers.
Ma'am?
Hi.
Dr. Banner.
Oh, yeah, hi. They told me you'd be coming.
The soldier. A man out of time.
I'm not the one who's out of time.
Mr. Stark. Captain.
I love how they all already know each other's names, either because they did their homework, they're a super spy, so it's their job to know all this information, or they just mind control one of the super spies into telling them all the secrets. I love the incremental power scaling in this movie. First, Cap and Iron Man take down Loki.
Make your moves, reindeer games.
Or at least Loki wants them to think they did.
I don't like it.
What, Rock of Ages giving up so easily?
I don't remember it being that easy. This guy packs a wallop.
And now Thor comes along and takes down both Cap and Iron Man with a single passive punch and grabs Loki.
I'd sit this one out, Cap.
I don't see how I can.
Fucking Death Wish!
I remember you tossing me into an abyss. I who was and should be king.
So you take the world I love as recompense for your imagined slights.
God, this dialogue is so fucking electric, my dude. It's so electric! I'm creating a comic book right now, so minute imperceptible shit like this really gets me going. Notice how Loki lies through his nose in order to pile up on all the shit he thinks Thor should feel guilty about from their childhood.
We played together, we fought together. Do you remember none of that?
I remember a shadow, living in the shade of your greatness.
Wait for it.
I remember you tossing me into an abyss. I who was and should be king.
And then Thor just immediately calls him on his bullshit.
So you take the world I love as recompense for your imagined slights? No.
Because even Matt Murdock could see that Loki let go. He wasn't tossed. I love the way Tom Hiddleston's performance just so perfectly complements this character. Just take a look at Loki's melodramatic facial reaction when Thor basically tells him that he imagined all the bad things that happened to him.
The humans slaughter each other in droves while you idly fret.
I mean to rule them.
I love how Loki keeps using this flimsy excuse.
Is this not your natural state? It's the unspoken truth of humanity that you crave subjugation.
To justify why he should rule over humanity.
Of a world made free.
Free from what?
Freedom.
Like he actually gives two shits about us and so desperately wants to lead us to a better path, when we all know he's just been programmed to seek out power wherever he can find it.
You think yourself above them.
Oh, yes.
Then you miss the truth of ruling, brother. The throne would suit you ill.
We also get some much needed character development for Thor. He's no longer that arrogant asshole we saw at the start of his movie. Clearly his time on Earth humbled him, and that shit he said at the end of his movie about having a lot to learn from his dad.
I have much to learn. I know that now.
Apparently got paid off because he's clearly gotten wiser and more well informed since we last saw him. The point of being a king isn't that you see yourself as better than your subjects. No, you're there to serve them while being fully aware that you're just as flawed as they are, but you always have to do your best to lead and protect them every single day.
I've seen worlds you've never known about. I have grown, Odin's son, in my exile. I have seen the true power of the Tesseract.
Oh, that's so fucking cute. Loki is so upset and at such a loss for words that his last resort is to try and show off to his big brother. I love the parallels between Thor and Loki right here. Since their separation, Thor has taken several slices of humble pie while Loki has only grown more arrogant. I love this fight so much because 1, it's executed very well, 2, it makes it a lot more impactful when they finally come together at the end and we get the panoramic team-up shot with the Avengers theme blazing in the background because they had to go through a lot of conflict and friction in order to get to this moment, so it feels like they earned it. Unlike some fucking scenes. And 3, the way it starts is just so fucking stupid. Iron Man wants Loki so they can get the Tesseract from him, but Thor wants Loki so he can answer for his crimes in Asgard. And also because he misses his little brother. But they are both too arrogant and hot-headed to come to a mutually beneficial conclusion, so Cap has to step in and be the voice of reason.
Hey! That's enough!
We also get some more symbolic characterization for Cap right here. On top of already being the rational, level-headed arbitrator between Tony and Thor, when he's faced with Thor's might, both physically and mentally, he stands his ground and everything just sorts itself out. He took Thor's full might and completely disseminated it, thereby placating his aggression, unlike Tony who took Thor's aggression and only amplified it. Really illustrates why he's the leader of the Avengers and not Tony.
I want to know why Loki let us take him. He's not leading an army from here.
I don't think we should be focusing on Loki. That guy's brain is a bag full of cats. You could smell crazy on him.
Wait for it.
I've care how you speak. Loki is beyond reason, but he is of Asgard. And he is my brother.
He killed 80 people in 2 days.
He's adopted.
That's a very sentimental joke for me right there. Adeoye, if you're watching, I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you.
I can't do the equation unless I have all the variables. You think Fury's hiding something? He's a spy. Captain, he's the spy. His secrets have secrets. It's bugging him too. We have orders. We should follow them. Following's not really my style. And you're all about style, aren't you?
And thus the road to civil war begins.
I'm exposed. Like a nerve. It's a nightmare.
You know, I've got a cluster of shrapnel trying every second to crawl its way into my heart.
An empathetic team building bonding moment between the two geniuses of the team, I fuck with it. And it's nice to know that their friendship does carry on into the subsequent Avengers movies.
Can you wipe out that much red? Dracov's daughter? Sao Paulo? The hospital fire?
Yup, this is some shit I like to see right here. The King of Mischief using his strongest weapon against his adversaries. Psychological manipulation and dissemination of misinformation. It's amazing how much useful info he was able to extract and retain from Barton, to be honest.
Intimately. In every way he knows you fear. And then he'll wake just long enough to see his good work. And when he screams, I'll split his skull.
Wait for it.
You brought the monster.
So, Banner. That's your play.
What?
And that's why she's the femme fatale super spy.
Thank you for your cooperation. You didn't come here because I bat my eyelashes at you.
Yes, and I'm not leaving because suddenly you get a little twitchy. I'd like to know why S.H.I.E.L.D. is using the Tesseract to build weapons of mass destruction. Did you know about this?
You want to think about removing yourself from this environment, Doctor?
I was in Calcutta. I was pretty well removed.
Loki is manipulating you.
And you've been doing what exactly?
We gathered everything related to the Tesseract. This does not mean
I'm
that we're
sorry,
making...
Nick. What were you lying? I was wrong, Director. The world hasn't changed a bit.
I love this scene because it's the culmination of two gradually escalating plot lines. S.H.I.E.L.D. has been using the cube to develop weapons the same way Hydra did in 1945 under the metatextual codename Phase 2. Meanwhile, Tony, Cap and Banner have been suspicious of why they didn't ask for Tony's help earlier if all they were doing was looking for a new source of unlimited clean energy, seeing as how Tony literally has that shit sitting in his chest, powering his heart and his new building. Then at the same time, everybody has been trying to figure out why Loki allowed himself to get captured, so everything just comes out simultaneously. Cap, Banner and Tony are confronting Fury about the weapons in the lab, while Thor and Natasha are there to secure Banner because Loki wants to unleash the Hulk. Then at the same time, Cap and Tony have some tension building up between them because Tony's an arrogant prick and Cap doesn't trust him.
Big man in a suit of armor. Take that off, what are you? Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
Dude, watch my Iron Man analysis. His story checks out. His story fucking checks out, bro. His story checks out!
I've seen the footage. The only thing you really fight for is yourself. You're not the guy to make the sacrifice play, to lay down on a wire and let the other guy crawl over you.
Iron Man.
You're a laboratory experiment, Rogers. Everything special about you came out of a bottle.
That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is why the Infinity Saga is the greatest superhero movie franchise in the world. Yeah! Oh! Alright, next clip.
Escort Dr. Banner back to his
Where? You rented my room.
The cell was just
In case you needed to kill me, but you can't. I know, I tried.
Wait for it.
I got low. I didn't see an end, so I put a bullet in my mouth and the other guy spit it out.
This scene just makes this one
infinitely more than you.
All the more disrespectful and distasteful.
You want to know my secret, Agent Romanoff? You want to know how I stay calm?
I find it very amusing that right after hearing how a bullet couldn't kill him, the moment he gets just a little bit aggressive, they both instinctively reach for their guns.
Got it.
I love how the moment the Tesseract has been found, everyone turns their attention to it, but Natasha immediately takes her focus back to Banner because she was tasked with recruiting him, so she has taken sole responsibility for his safety. Again, reinforcing that sentiment of her being fully dedicated to her mission, while also showing off the motherly aspects of her personality with the way she just simultaneously looks out for both Barton and Banner, regardless of what that means for her own well-being. It's so funny seeing how fully fleshed out Natasha was as a character as early as Phase 1, after so many reviewers on YouTube recently openly proclaimed that they never really liked Natasha because she wasn't a fully fleshed out character like Elena was in Thunderbolts. She even follows him to his computer to make sure he's calm, which is why when Hawkeye blows up one of the engines, they both get blasted into the engine room. Cool scene. I wonder what inspired it. I like the fact that even though they are both somewhat evenly matched in terms of their respective skill level, he's still a man and she's still a woman, so in order for her to win, she has to fight a little bit dirty.
Have you ever had someone take your brain and play? Pull you out. Stuff something else in.
Wait for it.
You know what it's like to be unmade.
You know that I do.
A subtle insight into her past as a brainwashed assassin without the need for an extensive inorganic exposition dump. I fuck with it.
Why am I back? How'd you get him out?
Cognitive recalibration. I hit you really hard in the head.
Makes sense.
Is this the first time you lost a soldier? We are not soldiers.
I like for that the movie takes advantage of Tony's relationship with Coulson in order to... Oh yeah, Coulson is dead by the way. And I really like the way the movie explores Tony's grief. A man that has never taken anything seriously a day in his life is definitely not going to know how to react in this situation when he gets hit with that strong way of cognitive dissonance as a result of his brain trying to play it off as just another dumb joke.
You seem like a good man. He was an idiot. Why? For believing? For taking on Loki alone? He was doing his job.
And his heart's getting crushed in real time by the weight of all the loss and pain he's currently repressing.
You should have waited. You should have... Sometimes there isn't a way out, Tony. Right. I've heard that before. Is this the first time you lost a soldier? We are not soldiers.
Even his attempt at satirically lightening the situation comes from deep within his pain, which he has converted into anger that he has directed at Coulson for being the idiot that tried to do his job and is now dead, leaving Tony with this sharp pain in his chest. Well... sharper. which he blames on Coulson at the second stage of grief, when he really should have just accepted it right away and mourned him, but he doesn't because that's not in line with his character, and I fucking love it.
Loki, he's a full-tilt diva. Right? He wants flowers, he wants parades, he wants a monument built to the skies with his name plastered.
I like how the movie used the arrogant, attention-hungry member of the Avengers to decipher the arrogant, attention-hungry villain's plan. Really gives a new meaning to the phrase, know thy enemy. Although how Loki gained access to Stark Tower without Tony being immediately notified in some way is entirely beyond me.
A couple of master assassins, and you, big fella, you've managed to piss off every single one of them.
That was the plan.
Not a great plan.
Yup, meme checks out. On this retrospective analytical journey of mine through the golden era of superhero movies, I like to make sure that the popular, iconic, well-known lines, jokes, and memes all still hold up to objective scrutiny. The I am Iron Man scene from Iron Man still holds up, but the cop scene from Thor doesn't.
Not a great plan. When they come, and they will, they'll come for you.
I have an army.
We have a Hulk.
Checks out as well. It's very, very iconic how the same line that was used to threaten Loki in this movie is the same line he used to threaten Thanos in Infinity War. The same dude whom he was working for when the line was first used on him.
We have a Hulk.
The Infinity Saga really is the greatest superhero movie franchise ever made. I always feel the need to include that superhero prefix because I've still not seen many popular movie franchises like The Lord of the Rings, for example. Although a friend once told me it's probably not the type of thing I'd personally enjoy watching. If it's not too boring, I might do some episodes on the trilogy. So cool, but it's got like some really fucking shitty physics. I break it down thoroughly in my Iron Man analysis, so I'm not gonna do that again right here.
Stark, we're on your 3 headed northeast.
What, did you stop for drive-through? Swing up park, I'm gonna lay him out for you.
This doesn't make any sense. Cap, Widow, and Hawkeye all leave the helicarrier in a jet heading for New York right behind Iron Man, so one could only assume that they'd all arrive around the same time. But apparently, that's an entirely preposterous Yay! This doesn't make any sense. Cap, Widow, and Hawkeye all leave the helicarrier in a jet heading for New York right behind Iron Man, so one could only assume that they'd all arrive around the same time, but apparently that's an entirely preposterous presupposition. So Tony gets there first, knocks out Eric Selvig, has his conversation with Loki, shits on Isaac Newton's grave, fights a few aliens, and a full 6 minutes later, Cap, Widow, and Hawkeye show up. This makes no fucking sense. At this point in the franchise, there's no way Tony is that much faster than a fully functioning jet. And even if he was, the suit he arrived in is still severely, emphasis on the term severely damaged from the second act of the movie. So it's visibly barely functional. And it's not like they even stopped to search for Banner because he just shows up out of nowhere by himself a few minutes later. It makes no fucking sense, bro. And this isn't just some pointless nitpick either. If they had shown up right behind Tony just as they were shown to be when they left, they could have stopped the cube and prevented the portal from ever being open to begin with. Alright, check this out. Tony shows up first because he's slightly faster than them. Sure, he fires the cube and knocks out Eric Selvig, so just as we saw with Hawkeye, he's freed from Loki's control and his mind goes back to normal. Tony starts hovering down to have his conversation with Loki, then Natasha announces their arrival. Tony sends them to deal with the cube while he distracts Loki. So Natasha covertly makes her way to the roof, shocks Eric back to consciousness, he tells her about the failsafe, she informs Tony, then after he immobilizes Loki in his new suit, he grabs the scepter, hands it to Widow, and just as the portal opens, she closes it. End of movie. Now obviously, I'm not saying that that's how it should have happened, but that's the very logical sequence of events that would have taken place if this giant 6-minute plot hole didn't exist. They could have very easily fixed this by saying they wasted time trying to locate Banner but couldn't find him. There's simply no reason why they got to New York a full 6 minutes later when they were clearly shown to be right behind Tony just a few seconds ago. That's major plot hole number 2. So don't be throwing hissy fits in my comment section when this movie doesn't get a 10 out of 10 at the end of the video.
It's too late to stop it.
No, we can together.
I love how Thor keeps trying to appeal to his brother's humanity and Loki just keeps fucking with him and laughing in his face. This is all really good setup for when Thor finally gets tired of his bullshit in his subsequent sequels.
That's my secret, Cap. I'm always angry.
Ah, yeah. I don't know about that one, Chief. It pains me to say this, but this particular iconic scene right here does not fucking hold up. Not in the slightest, my dude. It's supposed to be this big payoff where we see him do the cool thing that he has been teasing throughout the whole movie, because from the moment we met him, he has been alluding to the fact that he has some amount of control over his transformation. We see this sentiment being expressed very clearly in scenes like these.
You know, for a man who's supposed to be avoiding stress, you picked a hell of a place to settle.
Avoiding stress isn't the secret.
Stop lying to me!
I'm sorry, that was mean.
Threatening the safety of everyone on this ship isn't funny. No offense, Doc.
Yeah, it's all right. I wouldn't have come aboard if I couldn't handle pointy things.
Ow! Hey! Nothing? Are you nuts? Sure, Sam. You really have got a lid on it, haven't you? What's your secret? Mellow jazz, bongo drums?
Loki is manipulating you.
And you've been doing what exactly?
You didn't come here because I bat my eyelashes at you.
Yes, and I'm not leaving because suddenly you get a little twitchy. Did you know about this?
You want to think about removing yourself from this environment, Doctor?
I was in Calcutta. I was pretty well removed. I was good until you dragged me back into this freak show and put everyone here at risk. You want to know my secret, Agent Romanoff? You want to know how I stay calm? Sorry, kids, you don't get to see my party trick after all.
But then, right after and even in between those same scenes, we get scenes like these where he's implying that he has no idea what the fuck he's doing, and even attributes whatever small degree of control he may have over his transformation to just being lucky.
It's a terrible privilege.
But you can control it.
Because I learned how.
It's different.
I swear on my life, I will get you out of this. You will walk away and never ever.
Your wife!
Did I hurt anybody?
There's nobody around here to get hurt. You did scare the hell out of some pigeons, though.
Wait for it.
Lucky.
Or just good aim. You were awake when you fell.
And then you come at me with this bullshit?
That's my secret, Captain. I'm always...
Like, nah, bro, which is it? Do you have full control over your Hulk transformation, or are you just lucky? That's why, if you notice, at a certain point, I just stopped analyzing scenes with Dr. Banner in them because I was getting so fucking confused. And it gets even more confusing by the time we get Age of Ultron, but we'll deal with that when we get there. The annoying part of this whole situation right now is, the more you think about it, the less sense it makes. I mean, there isn't even a clear reason as to why in the final battle, he's fighting with the Avengers side by side, but in the second act of the movie, he was trying to kill them. These are two completely different characters, my dude. There's a thing called having your cake and eating it too. You know you can't fucking do that, right? You can't tell me at the start of the movie that he has full control over the Hulk, have him lose control and try to kill everyone in the middle of the story, then at the end, he's working with them in perfect harmony, and it's also implied that he could always do this as if the second half of the movie didn't fucking happen? That's called gaslighting, Marvel. You can't do that shit. It's not cool. What the fuck? Anyway, same time next week. An easy way to fix this would have been to have Hawkeye use his scepter on Banner the same way Loki used it on him. Then make Loki force him into transforming and beating up the Avengers. They alluded to this several times in the movie.
Loki is manipulating you.
How will your friends have time for me when they're so busy fighting you?
So I have no idea why they didn't actually do it. With Loki being the one that makes Banner lose control via mind control, we can still maintain the premise that Banner has full control over his transformation at the end. But all that being said, this is still a pretty cool fucking shot, bro! Come on, man! It's the Avengers! It's the Avengers! Let's go! Let's fucking go!
Guys?
Call it, Captain.
All right, listen up.
I like how they subtly had Tony both acknowledge and announce that Cap was the leader with that one line.
You and me, we stay here on the ground. We keep the fighting here. And Hulk. Smash.
Very cool iconic line, but doesn't hold up. Why is he now consciously fighting by their side as a valuable ally when just a few hours ago, he was nothing more than a mindless monster that was trying to kill them? I also just realized that I preemptively praised that line in the Incredible Hulk movie, not knowing about the abysmally consistent characterization that was going to take place in this one. I love how Tony has an ever-expanding and shifting three-dimensional map of the city in his heads-up display at all times that he can use to traverse the aerial terrain with ease.
Just trying to keep him off the streets.
Well, they can't bank with a dam. Find a tight corner.
I will roger that.
Boy.
Nice call. What else you got?
Well, Thor's taking on a squadron down on 6th.
and he didn't invite me.
Small details like that are what make this insane sci-fi comic book movie so much more fucking believable and immersive. Nice. Y'all need to understand just how fucking impressive that she was. First, she had to jump at exactly the right moment that would have allowed her to use all the momentum she got from flying around in that alien vest to propel her onto the roof, because we all know that if she had jumped just a little bit too early or a little bit too late, she would have been very, very, very unfortunate. Second, she had to do a flip mid-air in order to recalibrate and reorient her body in such a way that would allow her to land on her feet. Naturally, at first, I thought it was just a superfluous acrobatic flip that was either strictly for stylistic purposes by the director, or just the in-universe character of Black Widow seizing an opportunity to flex her flexibility simply because she can. But upon further analysis, you will notice that if she makes the jump without executing that flip and just allows the momentum to orient her body however it sees fit, she would have either landed on her face, her head, or her back, neither of which are conducive to the state of still desiring to be alive after you land. But the job's not done yet. Third, once she lands, she still needs to dispel all that momentum, so she bends her knees and does a forward roll to break her fall. She allows her body to roll for a bit in order to dispel the residual momentum. Then, once said momentum has been adequately dissipated, she just calmly regains control and does a cool but pragmatic hair flip. The entire scene is just 6 seconds, but it's so fucking phenomenal. And as if all that wasn't good enough, her hair flip at the end leads directly into a match cut of Loki doing the exact same thing. This movie is so fucking good, bro. It's so fucking good!
Superheroes in New York? Give me a break.
Hey look, it's Buddy! Whew, thank God he survived the alien invasion. I like how while everyone is in their regular clothes at the end of the battle, Thor and Loki are still in their battle armor because those are their regular clothes. Nice. Nice. 8 out of 10. Alright, that's the video. Subscribe to my Patreon for Workers Echo. That's my Patreon inclusive weekly podcast where I review movies, answer your questions, and react to Reddit stories. Oh yeah, bitch. Oh yeah, let's go. Oh yeah, bitch. Oh yeah, let's go. Yeah. Well, this was fun. Subscribe to my Patreon, link in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next analysis.
I'm the best.